Okay, so let's get started. We're going to be taking a look at setting up and working with our cruise control function found in our LINQ G5 and G4X programming. Now, our cruise control can be implemented in a variety of different ways, as we'll find here in this training module. We're going to cover the easiest way to retrofit cruise control to a vehicle that otherwise maybe deleted the cruise control functionality with the factory cruise control function, or the vehicle never came with cruise control at all, so it might be a really old vehicle. You are able to make cruise control function and work, but we do have a couple minimum requirements to actually make the system work here the way that LINQ is intending. So we have to meet these 6 minimum requirements. We can have additional things that we can wire in, as we'll talk about in the tutorial, but those aren't absolutely necessary for the system to work. So let's talk about these 6 things. The first thing is going to be drive-by-wire. So you have to be drive-by-wire. You can't be cable-driven throttle body and trying to make the cruise control function work. Second requirement is going to be a driving wheel speed source. Not a driven, but a driving wheel speed source. Very important. This is what we're going to target our speed against. So it needs to be calibrated. It needs to be accurate. Third thing, cruise on switch. This is essentially the arming switch for the cruise control function to work or not. Fourth thing, cruise set switch. This is where when we're turning the cruise on switch or the arming switch on, so we want cruise control to work, we're driving along the highway, let's say 65, 70 miles per hour. We want to cruise at 70, so we're driving at 70. We hit the cruise set switch. This sets the target speed for the system to control and to work at. Fifth thing is going to be our brake switch. So there's going to be 2 options with the LINQ, a normally open or normally closed brake switch. We have to set one or both of them in order for that to use as a cancel option or a cancel function with the cruise control. So just like a factory vehicle, if you tap the brake pedal, it's going to turn off cruise control. The last thing is going to be a clutch switch. Now, this only is going to apply for a manual transmission vehicle. Same idea as on a factory vehicle. If you're stick shift and you have cruise on, if you touch the brake pedal or you touch your clutch pedal, it'll turn off cruise control. So we're bringing that same type of OEM functionality here into the programming logic and the routine with our LINQ. The brake switch and clutch switch are safeties. So you cannot make this work without having both of those set up and working here and functional within the cruise control programming. So let's talk about setting this up now. We're going to move from our fuel page and let's go here in our layout options. Let's go all the way down here under cruise control option here. And within our cruise control window, we're going to find that we have our cruise control tab, or the main area we do our programming. We have our brake normally open, brake normally closed, and then clutch switch down here. And we also have a time plot window, which is going to be showing us a lot of important information to set this up. We're going to be doing a quick demonstration, just seeing how the system's going to work in this training module. So the first thing we want to do here is actually go to our cruise control mode. And right now, currently, probably looking out the window, it's going to be set to off. We're going to go ahead, double click here and set it to speed. So this is telling the LINQ that you want to run cruise control. The next thing we need to decide here is our switch type. We have a couple options. We see digital, analog, Subaru cruise switch, Subaru 3-wire, and then we also have Euro set increments, Euro res increments. Let's talk about what these all mean. What this is applying to is going to be the cruise switch inputs that we have down here. If we're setting it to digital, this is typically what we use if we're retrofitting cruise control to our vehicle that otherwise did not have cruise control, meaning the factory steering wheel doesn't have the cruise control buttons fitted to it, or we've deleted the factory steering wheel and that's no longer present. And we would have either switches in the car or a CAN keypad. We'll be using digital as our option. So the digital option here, that's our first. We have the ability to set a cruise on switch, cruise set switch, cruise resume switch, and cruise cancel switch. Now, what does this all mean? Well, the cruise on switch is our arming switch. We've already talked about that. So that arms the system and tells the LINQ that you want to run cruise control. The next thing is going to be the cruise set switch. This is when we're cruising at a specific speed and we want to maintain the speed and come off the actual Excel pedal in the vehicle. We'll set our set switch. Now, in this particular functionality, when we choose our digital option, this is where we get to some of the specifics talking about our various options that we have here. In this digital option, with the set switch, I press it once, that'll set the speed that I want to run at. If I hold the set switch, that'll act as the decelerating and target speed So this would be the same thing. You have typically on a factory steering wheel, you have a plus and a minus button with the cruise control. So the plus allows you to bump up your speed. The minus allows you to reduce your target speed that you're trying to run at with the cruise control. That's what this set switch functionality will do with this digital option. Now we also have a resume switch. Resume, so if you kick off the cruise control, let's say you hit the brake or you hit the clutch, that'll turn off the cruise control, and we want it to resume and pick back up again to the same target speed, we'll hit the resume button. You don't have to have a resume button, but that's what the functionality can be assigned to. So the minimum to make this work is the on and the set switch. The other function of the resume would be the plus or the acceleration function. So this is going to be bumping up your target speed if you hold the resume button. And then the last option here is our cruise cancel switch. So this would be the same thing as a factory steering wheel. You bump the button and it turns off the cruise control. Same idea as hitting your brake switch or your clutch switch. So this is going to be a master off, essentially. So again, in order to make this work as a minimum, we need to have the cruise on and the cruise set. Now let's talk about some other options here. We have our analog option. The analog is going to be using a factory steering wheel where you have buttons. So each time you push the various different buttons, it has a different function. And that's going to be all assigned to voltage thresholds. The first thing we'd have to do here is assign an analog input that you've wired your factory 0 to 5 volt cruise control switch buttons into. So we have to assign that. Then we have an on switch voltage, and then we have our set switch voltage. So each button, as you're pressing them, will have a certain voltage threshold or a certain voltage amount that we're going to expect when we press the button. And that's what we're going to have to program in here for these various different things. Now there's a cruise switch voltage tolerance, and what this is saying here.
Thanks for checking out our teaser clip. If you want to see the rest of this video and more than 500 hours of current EFI training we have to offer, make sure you click right here. If you want to go and check out more teaser clips from this training course, click here, and you don't want to miss any of the videos we're going to be releasing on this channel, so make sure you subscribe and click here. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys later.